Hey, so this video is about preparing for your first marathon. Let's get started. So first off, I'd say looking at overall objective for this, I'd say overall ones would be finishing the race and then setting a modest race goal for yourself. For my first race, I aimed at a 4-hour marathon, but previous to this point, I've been running in high school, college, and different ones from before. I'd say from there, I aim to find a training plan that fits and suits your needs at the time being. I looked at ones such as higdon, Jeff Galloway, Pfitzinger. I'll go over them one by one. For first one with Hal, I thought this was really introductory and I signed it up for it more looking it up online, getting a sense of the program and going from there. He has different stage programs for say like novice, intermediate, and further on. He breaks down the program into say the long runs, the rest days, the more say like a cross training day, strength training day, in addition to more medium to long type running. I think what you'd expect from this type of program would be exercising 4 to 5 times a week, also having embedded rest days. Next one up would be Jeff Galloway. He takes a different approach in terms of going off of a sort of like a fartlek type, in which it's a run walk model. So fartlek is Swedish for more like speed play type training, in which you go intervals of say running with spurts of walking in between. This is to more or less just help you build up that endurance. Also be able to just rest in between these different sets you might be doing. Training that's spread out for this is that there are 3 to 5 days of training, but there are more conditioning days where it's say you do what was just described, where you run a certain amount, then you walk for say a 30 seconds, and then you do it for say a half-hour interval, and then that's your workout for a day, and then repeating that another day for conditioning, and then having a dedicated day for say a longer distance one, say like a 17-mile or a 20-mile or something of that sort, which in theory sounds really intimidating, just going for like a 20 out from the get-go. But I'd say for like a run walk, it's definitely easier once you get into it. Like you could be going at a slower pace for you and then accompany it with walking in terms of helping you as a whole. From this point, I think there's a program called pfitzinger. He wrote the book called Advanced Marathoning, and for this, it's informally known as the 1855 program, in which it's 18 weeks and mileage goes up to say 55 miles per week. For him, he was a previous Olympic athlete and physiologist, and he really goes in lengths about running as a whole, in addition to different things throughout his book. I think his type of training program is more suited for someone who's more an intermediate and or advanced runner, in terms of say you did it say in a high school setting, a college type setting, or you just run recreationally prior to time wanting to train for a marathon. For his program, he has different type workouts such as recovery days, long/medium distance runs, in addition to tempo hill workouts, in addition to other things of this sort. But I think for his, it tackles just getting ready for race altogether, but making it so that from the get-go it is really ramping up with intensity in terms of overall volume and how much time. So we'll be focusing about nutrition the week before the race in addition to others. So I'd say a week leading up to the race, I'd slowly incorporate just more carbs into your diet. From that point forward, I'd say 2 days before the race, more like the 48-hour mark, I'd aim for 3.6 to 5.5 grams of carbs per pound of body weight you have. And this is pretty much so that on the day of the race itself, you have all the energy you need to be successful, in terms of not depleting all your energy and not hitting that notorious bonk, which honestly presents itself a lot. On the day of the marathon itself, I'd say don't do anything different from what you usually do. And I usually do, say, a bagel, toast, fruit, say a banana, apple, or different things, and just go from there. In terms of the course itself, I'd say it's pretty much dependent on the race you sign up for, and whether it's, say, like an LA marathon with just like a huge expo where they just give you care packages of like food to set up, just say like goose, bananas, etc., or different ones. I'd say just how you do nutrition on the course itself depends on whether you want to stock up beforehand or just rely on the race and see what they have in store. But for me, I try to do, say, goos or gel at mile 10, a mile 14, a mile 18, and then mile 22. I think for this, it's sort of a learn by doing thing. I'd say just not wanting to hit the wall in terms of like a bonk in particular. And bonk would be referring to just oftentimes it's more at, say, like a mile 20 where you deplete all your energy, like your glycogen storage, and you're just entirely depleted at the end of the day, and you just don't want that for yourself. Now for other people, they might strategically place it in terms of they'll take a gel every 45 minutes, every hour, or just see what fits for them. Doing that is sort of just stress testing and seeing prior to the race what might best fit for you. Race day, I'd say there's not a tried and true method when it comes down to it. I think for me, I usually try to go to every other aid station, and from there try to eye out, say, like GoodReads or different electrolytes. For me, I don't think I'm in a position to fully talk about just all the factors that come to play with hydration, because end of day, when it comes down to it, there's a lot more things, say like it's a really humid day, or you're exerting a lot more energy per usual, or just different things. And I don't know enough to really speak to that. As for example, I volunteered at the last New York City marathon, and for that, I was at mile 13, but I just seen that there is a lot of water that we've been supplying to people, but by time of midway point, people were really exhausted, especially due to more like the humidity aspect of things. From here are some more like miscellaneous tips or takeaways I got from races I've been. So for the first one, it'd be don't start off too fast, or else you'll be sort of paying for it in the second half. I think for this, it's that I'm not at a point for performance-wise where I can do, say, like negative splits where my second half is a lot better than first. But for this, it's just don't go out too fast, or else you'll be really fatigued near end, and don't want you to get just, say, like that bonk near the end. Next pointer would be the last 10K of your race is going to be the second half of your race. For this, it's more when you're starting out, you'll hear about just bonking and just losing your glycogen storage. It pretty much feels like you didn't fuel yourself well enough for a race, and you're just paying for it just like in the final 10K stretch. And it's a bit draining, to say the least. For this, it's pretty much just being mentally and physically prepared for just what the last 10K has in store, and being able to give yourself enough energy, whether it's days leading up to the race or during the race itself. The last one would be the crowd brings great energy, but loosely related, it's that whenever you might feel like you're hitting a slump, I really appreciate the crowds that come out and just support us at every stage of the race. I pretty much just look out for just like whatever signs there are, in addition to just the crazy costumes and different things from here. It really lightens up the mood and just makes you really appreciate all the time and effort you put up into this, and just appreciate different people showing up as well in terms of things. I'd say that's all I got for today. Thanks for your time today and tuning in, and as always, don't forget to be awesome.